Yeah, it does feel like forever since I've reviewed an animated family film, but I'll say this, if more animated family films played Sabotage by the Beastie Boys in the trailer, I'd be reviewing more animated family films. So Minions: The Rise of Gru is another Minions movie / Despicable Me movie. It's another Despicable Me prequel or a Minions sequel, however you want to see it. Basically, you have the Minions adventure and you have Gru, well, little kid Gru anyway, hanging out with his childhood hero, who's really his childhood villain, voiced by Alan Arkin, and they're on their adventure. And in that, I actually thought it did remarkably well in dividing the workload among the two stories and among the two character groups anyway. And I'm gonna lie to you, I've come to actually appreciate the Minions just as characters, as what they are. I mean, when I look back, I feel like they're kind of like the goblins of Labyrinth, but for this generation. Though to be fair, the goblins from Labyrinth should be the goblins from Labyrinth in every generation. That's a timeless film. Just, I appreciate the fact that the Minions are the sanguine psychos of this generation. I think kids need that. In a world where everyone's telling kids, like, fit in this box, you must be this way. I like the fact that there are characters out there that are like, and it's fine to be chaotic too. Nurtures imagination. Did for me anyway. Maybe I'm projecting. But I will say, Despicable Me movies going forward, henceforth from here on, should be young Gru and this supervillain voiced by Alan Arkin. Just Steve Carell and Alan Arkin. I mean, how can that not sell? If they did that from here on out and those were Despicable Me movies, I would totally be down. Because it does have that flavor of Despicable Me. You know, Despicable Me was this supervillain who has these kids now, and you know, there's this parental element in there. It's very sweet, very nice. So I hear. I'm a cold-hearted bachelor. So, you know, of the people I know with kids, they were like, trust me on this. It was very nice. But given the two concepts of a supervillain who's already a supervillain, and then he finds his kids and he learns to be a parent, or this young child psychopath who's aspiring to be a supervillain, and he's hanging out with his hero supervillain, and they still have that, you know, the surrogate father parental dynamic. Little kid Gru is it, man. That's Goldilocks zone. That's prime Gru right there. Now, as surprisingly fun as this movie was for me, it does run into that thing where it tries to do too much. It tries to be the master of all things, but really it's the master of none. I mean, it's fine in what it sets out to do for its purpose. But it has storylines that they either should have cut from the movie or dedicated far more time to. Then the end of the movie runs into the thing where you ever play a video game, there's this 3-phase boss fight, and by the end of the boss fight, by the 3rd phase, you're like, it's not even that character anymore. You're just fighting a big monster. This movie does that, so I never felt like there was a showdown with the villains of the movie. But I feel all that might come secondary to the fact that the kids in the auditorium were going crazy for this movie. And for me, that's the biggest metric right there, you know? It's a lot of screenings are just us, you know? Us who review movies, critics, reviewers, whatever you want to say. Everyone has their notepads out ready to go to war with this film. Nitpick everything. It was literally an auditorium full of families and children. They loved it, so I can definitely say if you have kids, they will probably have a good time in this movie. Like the Despicable Me movies for me, or the Minions movies, whatever they are, it's like some I've enjoyed more than others, but regardless, they all have this one thing in common. And for some odd reason, I don't know why, it's just how my brain is programmed for them. By the time the next movie comes out, I will have forgotten all about the previous movie. I don't know why. It's just like the next movie's coming out. My brain's like, oh, we were supposed to hold on to that? I'd hit Control-Alt-Delete and we just kind of made room for other stuff. If you don't know what that's like, give it a couple decades. You will. And Despicable Me is just one of those properties. That's just how I am with them. But I will say I had fun with this movie, and I hope I hold on to the memory of that. Was it perfect? No, not at all. It was even sloppy in parts. But I did have a couple chuckles. I was afraid it would be all little kid antics in the way that it would speak to little kids, but parents would be like, all right, I'm really bored. But there were some jokes in there I got a good chuckle out of. I was like, kids aren't going to understand what that is. That was for the adults, and I appreciate that. If you're looking for a fun family movie night out this weekend, you could do far worse than this one. The movie's 90 minutes long, which I appreciate right there. Right in the pocket, right where you want a movie like this to be. In the end, I walked out having a good time. No alcohol required. All right, so Minions: The Rise of Gru. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.